The next question, cerebral peduncles connect. Okay, so here in the picture we will see where these cerebral peduncles are located. So you can see here, so this is a cerebral peduncle, and on this side you find another cerebral peduncle. So these cerebral peduncles are two stalks. So these are two stalks which are present on anterior part of midbrain, midbrain. So here the function of these cerebral peduncles is that they connect brainstem to the cerebrum. Brainstem to the cerebrum. Okay, so here the brainstem that consists of midbrain. It consists of midbrain and pons and medulla oblongata. Okay, and the cerebral peduncles, they contain ascending and descending nerve tracts. So these ascending are sensory nerve tracts, whereas the descending are motor nerve tracts. So that connect brainstem with the cerebrum. So here the right option is D option, brainstem with the cerebrum. So in the material they have given it as a cerebellum. So I would request to make a correction. So instead of cerebellum, make it brainstem. So the brainstem that includes the midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata. So cerebellum will not come under the brainstem. And again in this picture you can see the different nerves arising from parts of this brain. So hypoglossal nerves arising, so these are hypoglossal, so these are trigeminal. Okay, and this portion, so what you see here is pons. So this is the pons. Okay, and so you may find here cerebellar peduncle. So cerebellar peduncle is different, whereas the cerebral peduncle is different. So this is the location of those cerebral peduncles here. Okay, and you can see the optic nerves here, the optic nerves, and then arising of these oculomotor nerves. Okay, trochlear, trigeminal, you can see almost many of these cranial nerves from this region. Next question, which cranial nerve in the mammals has got maximum branches? Is a question from level 3. So we will see the first option, vagus. So this vagus nerve is 10th cranial nerve. Is 10th cranial nerve, and this is the longest nerve of ANS. Is longest nerve of autonomic nervous system, and it controls heart, lungs, digestive tract. And there are the branches. So when we see the branches of vagus, so I'll just list out some branches here. So the branches include pharyngeal nerve, then superior laryngeal nerve, then superior cervical cardiac branch, and then inferior cervical cardiac branch, then recurrent laryngeal nerve, and then thoracic cardiac branches, then pulmonary branch, then esophageal branch, then anterior vagal trunk, and posterior vagal trunk. So, etc. are some nerves from the vagus. So, with this, we understand it is the vagus nerve that has maximum number of branches. So, the option A is right. The next question: branch of a spinal nerve that supplies muscles and skin of back. So here the first option is ramus dorsalis. So this is also called ramus, dorsal ramus, and this is a division of a spinal nerve. So this is supplied to, so this nerve is supplied to muscles and skin of back. The next one, ramus ventralis. Ramus ventralis is also called ventral ramus, and this spinal nerve is supplied to anterolateral parts of trunk and limbs. And then the C option, that is ramus meningeal. So this ramus meningeal is also called meningeal ramus. So here this one it is supplied to, so these are supplied to meninges and the column. And the last one, the ramus communicans. So this ramus communicans is any of bundles of nerve fibers, a sympathetic ganglion, with the spinal nerve, So we can see the first option, that is ramus dorsalis, is supplied to the muscles and skin of back. So the right option is A. Next question: injury to vagus in human is not likely to affect. So here the vagus is the vagus nerve. The question is, if injury takes place to vagus nerve, so which of the following will not be affected? So we know that vagus nerve is the one that has maximum number of branches, and this vagus nerve is supplied to the parts of digestive system. So that includes pancreas. Okay, and then that also includes the peristaltic movements, so which we call gastrointestinal movements. So gastrointestinal movements, so that includes the gastrointestinal movements also. And the vagus nerve is also supplied to heart, so it also supplied to heart. Okay, so but it is not okay supplied to tongue. So here injury to vagus in human will not affect the tongue movement, so the right option is B. Next question, organ of Ruffini is sensitive to. So this organ of is called Ruffini corpuscles or bulbous, and this one is a mechanoreceptor, and it is located in the taste, located in the cutaneous tissue, and this one it responds to pressure. So the organ of Ruffini is sensitive to pressure, that is D option is the right option. So in the key they have given a wrong key, that is heat. That is not the answer, so I request to make a correction. So organ of Ruffini is sensitive to pressure. The next question, assertion and reason. So we'll say assertion. Astigmatism is due to uneven curvature of lens, and the reason, it is treated with the cylindrical lens, wearing cylindrical lens. Okay, so first let's see what actually is this astigmatism. So this astigmatism is a refractive error, is a refractive error, and this occurs when either the front surface of the eye, that is cornea, so the front surface of the eye, so this is cornea, or the lens have a mismatched curvatures. So okay, so it occurs when cornea and lens have mismatched curvatures, and because of this it results in multiple focal points. So you can see in the first picture the normal eye, so there is only one focal point, so all that light that falls on the lens, it will focus at single point, whereas in this case, because of a problem with the lens, you can see the light okay getting distorted, and it will fall at different points, so multiple focal points are observed in case of astigmatism. Okay, and because of this, you can see here in this picture, uh, the persons with astigmatism will see like this. The persons with astigmatism will see like this, and the persons who have normal vision, so they will be seeing like this. So the when in the night, you can see there is no distortion of the light, so whereas in this case you can see a lot of distortions. So when, if you are seeing like this the lights at the night, then uh, then the problem astigmatism is present. Okay, so astigmatism is due to uneven curvature of lens. Yes, this statement is a true statement. And then reason, it is treated with the cylindrical lens. Yes, it is treated with the cylindrical lens. So this statement is also true. Okay, but the reason is not explaining the A, so hence the option both A and R true, and R doesn't explain A, so that is B option is the right option. The next question, cholinergic neurons secrete neurotransmitter. So here, what are these cholinergic neurons? So these are the neurons, acetylcholine as neurotransmitter. So all those neurons release acetylcholine as neurotransmitters. They are all called cholinergic neurons. So okay, so in this out of all the options, the cholinergic neurons secrete neurotransmitter, so that is acetylcholine, that is option D. So here coming to others like this GABA, so whose full form is okay gamma aminobutyric acid, so this is a neurotransmitter, and even dopamine is a neurotransmitter. All these four options, so they are all are neurotransmitters, but only the neurons that release acetylcholine as a neurotransmitter, they are called cholinergic neurons. So that is option D is right. The next question, splenium and geno are parts of. So here let's see the options. Corpus callosum. So this corpus callosum is the one that connects hemispheres. So it connects hemispheres, and this is largest measure of brain. Measure of brain, and this is made up of white matter, made up of white matter that consists of myelinated nerve fibers. Consists of myelinated nerve fibers. Okay, and the corpus callosum, the anterior part of it. So anterior part of corpus callosum called the geno, and the posterior of corpus callosum is called splenium, right? And then coming to this corpus striatum, so this corpus striatum is a collective name given to caudate nucleus, given to caudate nucleus and lentiform nucleus within basal ganglia of forebrain, ganglia of forebrain, right? So we already know hypothalamus and pons varoli. So the splenium and geno are the parts of, as I mentioned, they're parts of corpus callosum. So option C is right. Next question, Orbax plexus controls. So here the Orbax plexus is also called myenteric plexus, and this is a group of ganglia, which is present throughout the digestive tract, that is alimentary canal. And so this group of ganglia are present between outer longitudinal muscle layer and inner circular muscle layer of muscularis layer. So we know the alimentary canal, the wall of the alimentary canal have different layers like serosa, muscularis, submucosa, and mucosa. And you will see this Orbax plexus a group of ganglia. So here plexus, which means network of these ganglia, which are present between outer longitudinal muscle layer and inner circular muscle layer, right? And they are involved or responsible for, so that's a function. So function of this Orbax plexus is okay to produce peristaltic movements. Okay, so now coming to these options, the Orbax plexus controls not blood pressure or heartbeat or kidney functions. So the right option, that is D, peristalsis. The next question, thoracolumbar outflow is. So here the name is given depending on the location. So this includes the thorax and lumbar regions. Thorax and lumbar regions. So you can see here this is the brain stem. So in this picture, this is the brain stem, and okay, from, of course, the rest of it is the spinal cord. So from the brain stem, so we have is a cranial outflow. So from there the nerves that arise are parasympathetic nerves. So you can see parasympathetic nerves. In the similar way, the sacral outflow will be also including S2, S3 and S4 spinal segments. They will again also give the sympathetic nerves. So for that reason, so this part we call the parasympathetic uh, the parasympathetic nerves will be of craniosacral outflow, and coming to the thoracolumbar outflow. So this thoracolumbar outflow will be from okay, first thoracic to lumbar to spinal segments. So that will be extending from okay T1. So that is the T here is the thoracic to L2. So that is lumbar. So T1 to L2 spinal segments. So from this region it gives off sympathetic nerves. So you can see here in this picture, so it gives off sympathetic nerves, right? So the thoracolumbar outflow is the one that comes under sympathetic nervous system. So coming to parasympathetic, we know it is a craniosacral outflow. Okay, so it's not a reflex activity nor cholinergic neurons. We know already those who produce acetylcholine neurotransmitter, I mean release acetylcholine neurotransmitter, they are called cholinergic neurons. So this is not the option. So the option A is the right option, sympathetic nervous system. So thoracolumbar outflow is a part of is the one that has this sympathetic nervous system. The next question, dome-shaped gelatinous cupula occurs in. So here in this picture we can see there are three semicircular canals perpendicular to one another. So we have a superior semicircular canal, lateral semicircular and posterior semicircular canal, and the base of these semicircular canals are swollen, and that swollen part is called ampulla, and inside the ampulla we find the structure, okay, that's called a projecting ridge. So we find inside the projecting ridge, and that projecting ridge is called crista ampullaris. So projecting ridge is crista ampullaris. So that you can see here. So this is the swollen portion of ampulla, and inside that we see the crista ampullaris, and there is a gelatinous sheath or cap. So this cupula is a gelatinous cap, and embedded into it will be the hair cells. Okay, so here I mean the stereocilia. So embedded into the gelatinous cap will be the stereocilia of hair cells. So you can see the hair cells, and these are the stereocilia. And so whenever we move the head, so here the cupula moves depending on the direction of the head movement, and that also results in the movement of a stereocilia, which triggers the action potentials in the hair cells that pass through this vestibular nerve. So you can see here, these are all the vestibular nerves. In the previous sessions we have seen that combines with the cochlear nerve and results in the formation of vestibulocochlear nerves. So the dome-shaped gelatinous cupula occurs in crista ampullaris. Okay, so we know that this macula, so this macula is a projecting ridge. So this is a projecting ridge in saccule and utricle, is a projecting ridge in saccule and utricle, and that is called macula. Okay, right. So the right option here is a crista ampullaris, that is B option. We know the organ of Corti, which is present on the basilar membrane in the scala media, which is filled with the endolymph. The next question, canal of Clem takes part in. So this is actually related to drainage of aqueous humor. Drainage of aqueous humor. So I told that when we were studying about the eye, that the aqueous humor will be replaced now and then, whereas the vitreous humor will remain permanent. So this aqueous humor formation will take place in ciliary processes. It takes place in ciliary processes. Okay, from there it passes through spaces between suspensory ligaments. So this will pass through space between suspensory ligaments, and from there it enters the posterior chamber, and through pupil, so through pupil it flows into anterior chamber, and from there it enters the limbus, and from there, okay, passes into trabeculae, and then comes is the canal of Clem, and this finally enters the venous system. So that will be uh, of so it enters the venous system. So those are called aqueous veins. So you can see this is the canal of Clem. So the canal of Clem takes part in draining of excess aqueous humor. So that is first option A will be the right. So it is bringing in aqueous humor is a wrong option. Then draining of excess vitreous humor is a wrong option, and bringing in vitreous humor is also a wrong option. So only A is the right option. The next question, rods and cones of eye are modified. So let's see what are all these multipolar neurons, unipolar, bipolar, and pseudo unipolar neurons. So here, depending on number of that originate from cyton, classified neurons into different types. So classified neurons into different types. So these are the multipolar neurons. So you can see in this case multipolar neuron. So there are a lot of poles that arise from the cyton. So that form dendrites. So here are all dendrites that form, and there is one axon. So here there are many dendrites, and an is a condition we see in case of a multipolar neuron. So in case of multipolar neuron, then coming to unipolar neuron, in unipolar neuron there are no poles from the cyton except the axon. So you find only here axon. So this is axon and cyton. So as there is only one pole, so this is called unipolar neuron. Unipolar neuron. Okay, and then the next one, coming to bipolar neuron. So we find here, okay, two poles, right? So this one, and another one is, okay, a dendrite. So axon, and this is dendrite, and that of course later will branch off, right? So this is bipolar neuron. And coming to the pseudo unipolar neuron, so in case of pseudo unipolar neuron, we see of course only one branch, as it is unipolar, and this one will give off or branches, and one of which will act as a dendrite, will as dendrite, and the other one will as axon, right? So this is a unipolar neuron. So you can see the difference between all the neurons, the multipolar neuron, unipolar neuron, then bipolar and pseudo unipolar neurons. Now coming to the question, rods and cones of eye are modified. So they are actually modified bipolar neurons. So the right option is C. Okay, with this we complete the level 3 questions, and in the next session I will be starting with a new chapter, chemical coordination and integration.